It's the World Cup final and it's time to do predictions for the final game of the tournament. And what a game it is France versus Argentina. Before we jump into it, I'm just going to do the quick usual YouTube shilling of hit like if you like the video. And if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. That will help me out a lot. And thank you for being with me for my predictions for this World Cup. I think you all agree they have been pretty bad. But just one final thing before we do this game. Let's talk about that all-important third place playoff between Croatia and Morocco. And let's give a big who cares? Who really cares? Just send these players home. They don't want to be there anymore. They don't want to play this game. Let's give a prediction. Yeah, let's go for Morocco. Why not? 1-0 Morocco. Yay. Do you think they'll ever scrap that game? It's like the most pointless game, and everybody only says about that game, what's the point of it every time it comes around? It just really bugs me. But let's talk about the final, shall we? Let's talk about the final that we didn't get kind of the underdog story of Croatia or Morocco going through. And I think for the good of the final, as much as it would have been amazing for Morocco to be the first African winners, I think having a France and Argentina final, a very heavyweight juggernaut of a final, is really good for the tournament. And there's two main stories, really, isn't there, going into this final? And the main one you'd have to say is, can Messi do it? Is Messi going to get this World Cup in what is surely going to be his last ever World Cup game? What a tournament he's had. After getting beaten by Saudi Arabia in that opening game, which seems an absolute lifetime ago. Argentina have got better gradually as this tournament's gone on. I thought against Croatia they were really good in what wasn't a great game, but they really controlled that game, and they really just... Croatia were no threat to this Argentinian side at all, and they took care of them with a penalty, as they always seem to get a penalty, and the predictably bits of magic. They didn't all come from Messi, although he certainly provided it for the final goal. Alvarez was in there as well with a superb, although slightly lucky, dodgy defending second goal of a solo run. But a comfortable win for them, and as I said, they are getting better as this tournament goes on. What I found interesting about Argentina is Scaloni has changed tactics when he faced the Netherlands and when he faced Croatia. And I expect him to kind of sit with those tactics that he did against Croatia, really. The 4-4-2, I think it kind of gives them more solidity in that midfield. While it's not the most amazing of Argentinian side in terms of star power, they are a very hard-working side. And you've got that midfield quartet in there, which I don't expect them to make any changes. The only one maybe would be if Di Maria comes back in. And they will look to kind of stifle that French attack. And stifle it to the point where it might stifle Argentina's creativity, but they'll just rely on the fact that they do have one of the greatest players of all time. One of the greatest players of all time who has come up clutch in virtually every single game. Yes, I know every single video and every single media outlet turns into a bit of a messy wank fest, but he has been freaking great in this tournament. He's been really good, and he just either he comes up with goals, even if they're just penalties, or he comes up with amazing assists or amazing bits of skill. And look at that third goal they scored against Croatia. One of the players of the tournament, Vardial of Croatia, Messi's just destroyed him and put it on a plate for Alvarez to get his second goal of the game. So Argentina's game plan is pretty much stop the French and then make Messi do something special. And who knows, he may well do it. And it would be great to see it. I mean, I kind of obviously, as an England fan, I wanted England to win this tournament. But as it's gone on, you know, I think you certainly wouldn't begrudge Argentina, although they're kind of a bit of an old foe of ours. No love lost between Argentina and England. But you wouldn't begrudge Messi from winning the World Cup at all. But standing in his way is the biggest test they have faced in this tournament, without a doubt, and that is the French. And yes, while France laboured a little bit in the win over Morocco, and you could say they've laboured in pretty much every game so far, there is also an argument to say that they haven't really got out of third gear in any of the games they played. They did get the job done. Early goal by Hernandez, and then a late goal by probably a goal scorer no one would have picked. Luani getting a goal after 44 seconds, his first touch of the ball after coming on. But great for him. Don't expect him to play in the final, though. But France might make some changes. And big news coming out of the French camp is, will Karim Benzema be available for this final? If he is, what a huge boost for the French side. He is been in great form for Real Madrid for, well, he's the player of the year and all that stuff, and Ballon d'Or winner, quite rightly so. And France have missed him. What a difference he could have made to this tournament, but they've made it to the final without him. Will he come straight back in if he is available? I have to think he wouldn't. I'd have to think France would stick with the side. The only change they might make is Fofana coming out for Rabiot. Maybe Konate will be replaced by Upamecano in defence. But those are the only changes you would think France would make. You wouldn't think they'd make a change in that forward line that's been so prolific or been so good as a unit together. So I think if Benzema is available, he'd be available off the bench. But certainly adds a bit of star power to the final. And it'll just be business as usual for France, really, won't it? They've been a very well-oiled machine in this tournament, and that very efficient front line, while it hasn't been devastating, it certainly has been, as I said, very efficient. Greizman has been exceptional. He was exceptional in the game against Morocco as well. But France did struggle in that game. I mean, there was a bit of time in that second half where France, predictably, when they do get into a lead, they do like to back off a little bit, and it was to their detriment. And one thing they've got to address is they have been a bit weak in the last two games down their left-hand side, down the attacking side's right, and that's with Hernandez. Is a little bit of a weak link in that side. I know he scored the goal in the game against Morocco, but he's not a great defender, and he has been when he's isolated. You saw Morocco get in there time and time again down their right hand side now, and England did that too with Saka. Morocco have got their best players down there, arguably with Hakimi and Ziyech. So maybe that's something that won't happen in this game. But you'd have to think that Argentina will be targeting that, and maybe Messi will target that side of the pitch as an area to attack. Don't be surprised if you see him popping up in those areas of space on the pitch to receive the ball to try and exploit a weak area for the French. But going forward, no real problems for France at all. They've got so much options in there with that front four, if you like. With Giroud, Mbappe, Dembele and Greizman, and they'll just back themselves that they'll be able to create chances and cause some problems. I think Giroud will trouble this Argentinian backline in the air, and you cannot question Mbappe will trouble them with his pace, as will Dembele as well. And then obviously with everybody worried about those ones, it just gives Greizman the opportunity to just float around the pitch and be the quality playmaker that he's been throughout the tournament, but particularly in the last two games. But it's time for the crunch. It's time to predict a winner of this World Cup final. I'm sure you'll give me your predictions down below, and that is great. But in this World Cup final, I am going to go for a 2-1 win for France. That's right. I'm not going to go for the Messi fairy tale ending. I actually would be my preferred ending to this story, but I just think France are such a battle-hardened, battle-tested side. I think they've been the toughest side in this tournament and the best side, and it's frightening to think that they haven't played probably at their best for the majority of it. But I just find them as being almost the most versatile as well, that they'll have the answers to the questions that Argentina can pose them. But look, this is just my speculation. Argentina still have one of the best players that has ever played the game in their ranks, who is capable of winning any game of football at any time. So it's so tight. This could easily be an Argentina victory, but I'm just edging towards the French in this one. So it's back-to-back World Cup wins for the French, which is quite remarkable. So as you heard me there, desperately trying to hedge my bets a little bit to try and gain favour with both sets of fans. But probably if you're a French fan, you'll give it a thumbs up. If you're an Argentina fan, you'll give it a thumbs down. That's fair enough. But other than that, I think it's been a great tournament. I've actually really enjoyed it. I was sceptical coming into it at the start, as I think most people were. But I think as a novelty, I think this Winter World Cup's worked really well, and I think the quality of the football has been great, and there's been some shocks along the way too. So thank you very much for being with me on this journey. I'm sure we'll all watch the final on Saturday. I'll be doing a live stream on the Grandstand Betters channel, so please check that out on that channel there. The link will be down in the description as well for that one. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.